Well, Veronica, tell us a little about yourself, what your research project is, and what you drew you to the topic.
Well, I am an expert in colonial studies. I concentrate on indigenous cultures and languages, and that's part of what I am doing here. I'm studying the contributions of Chimalpain to the Nahua archive. Nahua is a term that we use when we refer to the Aztecs that are more commonly known in that way. So I see how Chimalpain studied a lot of these sources, how he gathered information, analyzed it, and put together one of the most comprehensive works in the history of the peoples of Central Mexico. And then I pretty much claim that his symbolic power is in that accumulation of knowledge and how he exercised such a cultural capital. And therefore, his works received the appreciation by other scholars in the 17th, 18th, 19th century. And his works are nowadays in different libraries around the world, like Germany, the US, France, and few of these manuscripts are in Mexico. So that's the overall scope.
And Chimalpain was an indigenous scholar then?
Yes, Chimalpain is an indigenous historian, we could call it. He was very active at the end of the 16th, beginning of 17th century. He was bilingual. Some people claim he might have been trilingual, but as far as we know and we can claim is that he was bilingual, and he was very active in the Nahua community in central Mexico, and he was also very active going to different places gathering these materials. So he did a lot of ethnographic work per se at the time.
I am interested in the editorial cartonera movement that began in Argentina. It was born of the crisis in 2001, and artists and a collective of writers began using cardboard that they bought from cartoneros, people that collected cardboard from the street in order to make a living, in order to print their books and share a little bit more about, be able to self-publish, be able to publish renowned authors, basically whatever they wanted. I'm very interested in how it spread throughout Latin America, especially with the idea of democratizing literature, which has taken root and is expressed in many different ways, socially, politically, artistically. I specifically work in Chile, in Santiago, because there's a community of editoriales cartoneras there. It's a very strong movement that is networked again throughout Latin America.
Well, given the nature of what I do, I need a lot of facsimile editions, critical editions, analytical editions of all these works. So Memorial Library has vast sources in that term. So I could use one translation in English of one document, and then I can find the Spanish. But not only that, I could find the first translation that is like the oldest one. So that gives me the opportunity to compare and then come up with my own translations when I work with this text. So that's one of the things. When it comes to the facsimiles, it's also wonderful because, as I mentioned, the Florentine Codex, you guys have that edition that is very limited around the world, and that's one that I used a lot here. I'm a big fan of the staff in this library. They are awesome, super helpful. I'm very, very, very thankful, and because anytime I go there with my pile of books, they are there to help me. If I need something, they are there. It's been wonderful. They are very resourceful, and just the attitude, the welcoming attitude they have when you walk to the door. And it's amazing.
I did also want to mention something about the community, actually. Madison has been a great space to think about my project outside of the cartonero world. So I'll tell you, yesterday I was just going for a walk, just wanted to enjoy the fresh air, and I ended up finding small boxes, let's say they look like birdhouses, called the Free Little Library.
Mhm.
So people share books,
Yeah.
right? And that's another way of democratizing literature that has nothing to do with the cartoneras directly, but the idea itself, sharing literature, right? Not throwing it away, but putting it out there for other people, was a fabulous addition to the work that I'm doing now. And as I kept on walking through Jennifer Street, I looked down on the sidewalk and there was poetry stamped into the cement. And that was another way of thinking about my book. So it's not just the collection and the library and the people here, it's also the city that lends itself to thinking more broadly about my work.
Thank you, very much. It's been a wonderful experience. I went to grad school here. I love Madison, but just coming back in a different role and experiencing the library in a more deeper, I know more what I want to do. So getting the best out of what you guys have, it's been a wonderful experience.
Definitely check out the exhibits that they have. They're wonderful. It's just another added layer to this wonderful experience.